Mr. Chairman, and thank you, because I'm not a member of this committee, for the opportunity to address the panel and carry on. I'm from West Virginia. We've been hearing about it all day today. The fury inside me right now is bubbling over with how we're going to address this problem. And for several of you to say you had no role whatsoever in this, I find it particularly offensive. When we've had over 900 people a year dying in West Virginia because of lack of attention on your algorithm and your corporate operation. And deflecting responsibility, saying, I just had to fill the order. No, you had a role. You had a role. So let me just, Mr. Hammergren, if I could focus some on you. You said you've notified the DEA of suspicious activity, suspicious orders. Between the years 2001 and 2014, did any of those suspicious orders involve West Virginia?
I can't be certain, Congressman. We reported between 2000 and in that period of time around 1 million orders to the DEA as suspicious. I just can't be specific.
I just want, for all of you, between 2001 and 2014, none of you were complying with state law. State law says if there's a suspicious order that you file with the DEA, you're supposed to send a copy of that order to the West Virginia Board of Pharmacy, and none of you have done it between those time periods. Not only a suspicious order, but at the end of every month, you're supposed to file a report that says during the past month, you give you 15 days to the end of, after 15 days, you're supposed to file a report with the Board of West Virginia Pharmacy saying no suspicious orders took place in West Virginia. But you didn't do it. And that was some of the heart. That was the genesis. That's when this disease really took hold in West Virginia, and you weren't compliant, but yet you said the same thing. You said, we're not responsible. I think you very much were responsible. So, Mr. Hammergren, again, do you agree that a person like Dr. Hoover should be held accountable for her actions and perhaps pay more than a fine for her actions?
Congressman, I don't know Dr. Hoover, and I don't know the situation of her case.
Do you just think, in general, doctors that spread this poison, writing $40,000, $50,000, $100,000 prescription or thousands of prescriptions on opioids should pay a penalty?
Absolutely, Congressman.
Okay. What about pharmacies? Pharmacies that are following that order. The one that we have in particular says Save Right Pharmacy. Should that pharmacist be held accountable for what he's done?
In fact, I think that pharmacy was closed per some earlier.
What about, no, it may have been closed, he may have lost his job, but what about him or her who filled the order? Should she have been held accountable?
I don't know the specifics, I can't comment on it.
Because coming back, I'm setting this up, I want to know whether you all should be held accountable. Because if the doctors and the pharmacies are being held accountable, I sure as the dickens would think you all have a role in this thing too. So if I could, I want to go back again, Hammergren, to you. Let me try again with another. Do you regret any role that your company has played in this crisis?
Congressman, I don't know how you could look at this crisis and not feel terrible about what's going on in this country. And I certainly believe in situations like the Save Right Pharmacy. And
so you do regret?
I feel terrible about this.
That what McKesson did in participating in this scourge that's ravaged this country. You regret it.
I feel terrible about the crisis.
So what's the proper accountability? What's the punishment? It's just a slap on the wrist of maybe 1/100% of the revenue? What's the accountability? What's the punishment that fits this crime when 900 people in West Virginia lose their life or 115 people lose their lives across this country? Just a slap on the wrist? A financial penalty? Or should there be time spent for participating in this? So I just want you to feel shame about your roles, respectively, in all of this. how we're going to get through this. So apparently I've run out of time, but let me just leave it at that. I am so frustrated for the people in West Virginia and across this country that you all have not played and stepped up and took more responsibility for this. I yield back my time.
Chair now recognizes the gentleman from